Welcome to E4 Electric Live from Bangkok. Guess which automaker is now number 2 in electric car sales in America? Of course, second to Tesla. Now, I'll give you a clue. It is an automaker that all of us, I mean, literally all of us have been making fun of less than 2 years ago. I mean, their electric car sales, their legacy manufacturer in their electric car sales were like 5,000 EVs per month. And some of their models were actually selling in single digits per month, like 7 a month, 9 a month. Any clues? Well, the baby is all grown up. And it has just overtaken Ford, actually, because Ford was number 2. Well, it is, yes, it is General Motors out of all companies. I never would have thought. But look, they now have a pretty decent lineup with 3 crossovers, a luxury SUV, and not 1, not 2, but 3. And you're looking at them right now, 3 electric pickup trucks. And if you ask me now, this is Sierra EV that's being delivered now. They just started. The Bolt is going to make a comeback next year in actually even a cheaper version. But the Equinox and the Blazer are selling very, very well. It was Lyric and it was a Hummer EV that was selling in single digits in some months. But listen, they've ramped things up and they have delivered quite good numbers. Now, there is a little nuance that's not exactly positive. We're going to talk about in just a second. So now the funny thing is, so they just overtaken Ford as the number 2 electric car seller in America, which is great. Which is great, you know. Now I am kind of rooting for Hyundai and Kia because they have been also very, very good producing really good EVs, and but GM has kind of came from behind and started delivering a lot of these. And I got to tell you, I think the best electric pickup truck that's EV is the Silverado EV. It's got more range, over 400. I think somebody did what? Tom Malogny, I think, did 440, more than any other electric vehicle on the market. The price was just dropped to under 60,000. I think it now starts at 57,000, which means after the incentive, you can get a Silverado EV for 50 grand. Like, that's pretty freaking, that's pretty freaking good if you ask me. So, and a lot of them are good looking. They have great range, many over 300 miles. The pricing has been great. They've been kind of definitely playing alone with the price wars that Tesla started. Some of their lease deals were really, really amazing, under $200. A lot of electric car vehicles right now are having a really, really good sale, and that also, of course, drags the prices down for others and for also the used market. So Chevy Bolt EV, for example, is a great used car to get. You're looking at it right now, and if you like the shape. I'm not a big fan. The latest one is okay, but I'm still not a fan. I really hope that GM does with the Bolt what Toyota did with the Prius, right? Who would have thought that Prius can actually look not just not bad, but actually really good? And that's what Prius looks like right now. Like, I would buy a Prius, right? If I was looking for a car and it was all electric, I would buy a Prius. And Prius is actually quite a good, what I would call a gateway drug into the electric cars, because it's got a pretty good range, looks pretty good, price is pretty decent, and but enough about Toyota. GM. Now let's talk about an embarrassing thing, though. Now GM and Ford have been talking smack, by the way, on social media, on Twitter, calling each other out. One was like, you don't have enough types of different models. You can get any GM if you want, said Ford, as long as it's a crossover or a pickup truck. Well, first of all, what's wrong with that? Those are like the most sold types of vehicles in America. So I don't know what Ford is talking about. And then, of course, GM fired back saying, well, we don't need a big fancy Silicon Valley team to produce cheap and affordable EVs. But here's the thing. All this smack talk is great. And don't get me wrong. Whatever it takes to get a lot of attention on electric vehicles, which are not really having a good deal. And at the same time, let me just say, the number is not great. So as you know, Tesla has delivered 1.5 million. I mean, way into the million, way into. I mean, they're trying to get to 2 million electric cars this year. Now, GM being the number 2 now and having a few brands, right? GMC, Chevrolet, Cadillac, their number is about all the way to September is 70,000. Okay, 70,000. That is like 20 times less than Tesla. So I mean, kudos on the crown of the second place, but it is honestly still quite embarrassing. Now it is great. It is impressive that you were selling like a few a month, and now the number is pretty good. But you got to ramp it up. I mean, listen, if you're not like at least half of what Tesla is making, you're not trying very hard. And I know they're losing money on these cars, which I don't always understand. How is it possible? Now, if some people include R&D, some people don't include R&D. I don't think you should include R&D when it comes to calculating the profits. But I think even without an R&D, I think they're definitely losing money. So they got to get those two together. They gotta make like 10 times more. And then, of course, they need to start making money. Now, I am a pro-consumer channel, so I don't care about these corporations if they're making money, if they're losing money, whatever. I mean, Tesla was also losing money at their first electric vehicles at first, right, for a few years. That's just how it is. Amazon, I believe, it was like one of the most unprofitable companies for a while, and look at them now. And yes, I do miss the Chevy Volt, which I used to be an owner of, and like this viewer right here, 2015. What was that? What did I have? I think I had 2018, but I don't know a single Volt owner. I don't know a single Chevy Volt owner who did not like the Volt. And at that time, I had 2 Teslas and 1 Volt. And but at some point, once I started this channel and I wanted to go full time and I had to really, really downsize, I ended up only driving the Volt. I sold both Teslas and I actually was driving the Volt. And you know what? At first I was like, oh my God, well, that's going to suck. I'm not going to drive a Tesla anymore. I'm just going to drive this little thing. But at the end of the day, I really, really like that car. And it was a great plug-in hybrid. I had it in Las Vegas most of the time. And, Las Vegas is not a small city, but it's not a big city. You can get everywhere within about 20 minutes, right? Everything beyond that is kind of, desert. And even though it had about 50 miles of electric range, I rarely needed to put any gas into that little thing. I mean, maybe once a month. So it was great. The Chevy, I think it was a huge mistake to discontinue. They should have just make it all electric, and the sales would have been great. It looked great, especially the second generation, and it is a shame. But they're doing well now, and as Jeff says, I've kind of been impressed with GM's lineup. Yeah, me too. And there's more coming, right? There's more coming, and they are still figuring things out with the batteries. But they had a great idea, right? They had a great idea. They had the same idea as Tesla had with Panasonic. It was a joint venture, and GM has a joint venture. What's it called? Ultium, whatever, with LG. Now, obviously, they had a big freaking problem before that with the Bolt batteries, and it's solved now. But that was, I mean, the thing is, like, I never thought Mary Barra was a good CEO, and I guess she's kind of going to pull it off at the end of the day. But at the same time, after that screw up, I thought she would definitely be fired. But what do I know? I thought Elon Musk would be fired, after the delivery numbers, and delivery numbers were okay, but all right, that was last week and all this week in my therapy sessions, but it is what it is. So kudos to GM on actually coming from behind, but at the same time, GM, and let's face it, everybody else really needs to get their crap together and start making more electric vehicles. So, by the way, I am probably going to do another live stream in a couple of days after the unveiling. Well, I guess it's October 10th here already in Bangkok, but you guys still have to live through the 9th. Hope you guys are having a good one. I had a great night. I actually just moved. This is my new room. Everything looks good on camera, but it is a mess. Have when you move, like you just put the piles and piles of stuff and then go through it, which is a good thing to do. Because you get to reorganize things that are piled up, get rid of stuff that you really don't need and hoard it for no good reason. Now, I did move from the 20th floor to the 29th floor in my tower here in Bangkok, and I got to tell you, normally, like in America, when I would move, even 2 hours away, I would order some movers. They'll come over, pack everything, and then just move it. And I literally had to lift no fingers because I would hire full service, including packing. But here, I am the full service. I pretty much had to pack, and now I'm unpacking. It's kind of a mess around me, but I hated my landlord, and this is a much better room and with an amazing view. There's one thing that I gotta say is just the views here are amazing because Bangkok has so many skyscrapers that you can look out of the window and just see such an amazing cityscapes. So that was what I was doing. But I'm really, really, really enjoying the new room and an upgraded view. A little tired today because I just played besides moving, I also played a soccer game, and it was a bit rough. And as you guys know, it's pretty hot here in Thailand, and even in the evening when you play soccer, it's like, okay, so it's 35 degrees Celsius. For you Americans, it's about 90 plus degrees. So it's still pretty hot. All right. And then I had pad thai with chicken pad thai with some chocolate milk, and that was great. I go across the street, still that place is open into the night because for a lot of, Thai people who work late into like night markets and stuff like that. So that place is open, authentic food. God, what did I pay for my pad thai? Oh, actually, you know what? It would be interesting to see wherever you guys are at in the world. How much do you pay for a pad thai with chicken in a Thai restaurant? So I'll tell you how much I paid. I'm gonna have to Google this because American dollar has really fallen down compared to Thai baht. $1.79. That's what I paid for my pad thai. So, all right, you guys let me know. And meanwhile, we're gonna talk about. All right, Jess says the Silverado looks like a beast and desirable. Yeah, it looks great. It's got great range. I think it's beating pretty much everybody else. Rivian, Cybertruck, Ford, everybody else in most of the specs. And it looks great. I agree. I really and they just dropped the price. It now starts under 60,000. I believe that's before incentives. So it is now actually a great deal on top of that, because before that, it was still a little bit expensive, but now it does make sense. Now I know Cybertruck dropped the price as well, but I believe it starts at 80,000 now. All right. Stanley says, I own 21 Mustang Mach-E GT. Oh, those are gorgeous, especially in that yellow color. But I'm not driving it right now because it has been in the shop for 55 plus days. I don't know what HVBJB issue is, but any issue that's 55 days is too long. Are you guys talking about buyback with Ford, or like what's the deal there? Let me know. Okay. So Stanley continues, only about 26,000 miles. It doesn't look as if I will get to put another mile on it. I need to start thinking about what I'll. Oh, wow, interesting. I hope they do right by you, Stanley, and give you your money back or give you a brand new GT, because it is a gorgeous car. I love it in that yellow color. Always try to use it for my B-roll when I do that. So I hope you work it out. James says hello from the UK. Sat in my sat in my Model S using my free supercharging, uh, hoping to grab a nice Chinese car someday. Hopefully, Neo or Envo with battery swapping. Yeah, Neo is my favorite brand. Has been for a while because of the Nomi Assistant, because of how many models they have, and of course because of the battery swap. That is absolutely the best. Um, James says, I'm thinking of shorting Tesla before the event tomorrow. I can see how it can be a massive letdown. So remember, a few weeks ago, I wanted to short Tesla, and I realized I can't just because I live overseas, and it's almost impossible, especially with the trade house that I already have, and trading house that I already have, and you can't really sign up with the with the new one most of the time. But anyway, so I ended up spending I ended up investing into my new portfolio. I had a few thousand, no, a few $100 left. It was like 700 or 800, and I invested into this ticker symbol TSLQ, so Tesla Q, right? And stupidly enough, I don't know why I invested in it like 2 weeks before the delivery numbers, which I shouldn't have, but I did. But if I would have invested it a day before and sold it the day after delivery numbers, even though they weren't really disappointing, I was disappointed how high they were. But I would have made like 10, 12%. Yeah. So event tomorrow, I already told you guys, I think it's going to be, I mean, it could be a good show. It could be a good show for sure. But would it be anything of substance? I don't think so. I mean, nobody thinks so, by the way. But Tesla is welcome to surprise all of us. Sorry, my throat is killing me. All right. Jeff says pad thai is $16 here in Washington, state of Washington. Yeah, that's actually probably that. But I'm sure in California it's more than that. But not bad, right? $1.79. All well-sourced ingredients made by a street food vendor. I love it here. Nano says, love the GMC Sierra EV Denali. Oh, you're an owner. You're an early owner. Any particular feature you like more than others? Let us know. Okay. Now, while you guys are catching up with the questions, another interesting story that I saw this week is Lucid and Rivian. Okay, let's talk about Lucid first. So Lucid has been delivering and delivering what they need to, and I think over delivering a little bit. And it looks like they're going to do very well this year. I mean, obviously it's a luxury, actually a luxury sedan. So it is not. They don't have to sell too many. I think they'll sell like 10 or 12,000 this year. But hey, listen, it's not like Ferraris are selling in millions, right? But it's interesting how they came back. They didn't look very good in a while, and then of course Elon talked crap about them and Rivian for a while, and at the end of the day, somehow they pulled it off. Now, I do have to say that Peter Rawlinson is one of the better CEOs out there. Now, their media department, PR department is shit, unfortunately, but I can probably say that about most automakers nowadays. Like here in Bangkok, one of my friends who's also in the industry, and she got to drive in AMG Cyberster, the Cyberster. And she said, "Hey, you wanna take a ride?" I was like, "Hey, why don't you ask the PR person if I can take videos and pictures? I'll post it. It's probably gonna do decent." And she's like, "Oh, PR people said no." I'm like, "Are they stupid? What do you mean no to free publicity? Like, do you know how much money other brands pay me to promote their? It's insane." So anyway, so Lucid just have crappy people in the PR department, but Peter Rawlinson, the CEO, has been great. They've made a mistake of hiring somebody from Tesla to run their manufacturing process, but I think they realized that, just like Rivian did, and took care of that relatively early. So the production is not a problem. It looks like they've been selling it very well. Now, they have been leasing like most of them, which means, and this is great. I don't know if you guys know that this new $7,500 tax credit is if the car's over, what is it, like 80,000, you don't get it. And if you have to qualify with a salary, there's a lot of stuff. It's easy not to get the $7,500 tax credit, and you're just not going to get it on any Lucid Air deals. But what they did was they got a really, really, really good promotion for the lease. And the loophole is that the lease considered to be a business purchase, because it's the bank that's buying it for you, essentially, right? And leasing it to you. And it is qualified for the $7,500 tax credit. So it's qualified. So that was pretty cool. So you got the tax credit, and they lowered the prices. They subsidized some of the. It looks like they subsidized some of the APRs for the lease, and it's working for them. And I still think the car is beautiful. It's full of great technology. It's luxury / techie inside, kind of a good balance, I think. There hasn't been any scandals or big like stupid recalls, like wheels falling off, like with Toyota or others. It's been pretty quiet, which is good. Which is good. They just keep making them. So kudos to Lucid. Lucid and Rivian, which I will talk about next. They were kind of the second generation new electric car companies, and Lucid was earlier than Rivian. Well, no, Rivian was just in a stealth mode, but Rivian was in a stealth mode for almost 10 years before they unveiled. I remember the unveiling. Still cannot forgive myself for not realizing Rihanna was at that small 100 or 200 people unveiling. Could have taken some pictures, or get married, whatever. So these two companies, and they've struggled, and of course Elon Musk predicted that it's not sustainable, all that stuff. Yeah, it looks like Lucid and Lucid continues to get more and more money from the Saudi Arabia fund, which I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I know we kind of got used to this, but it is blood money. Let's not kid ourselves. But there's a lot of blood money everywhere now, I guess. So people got used to it, and so we're okay with it. They just got another injection of cash, and they're being supported. They're going to be actually, I believe, building a factory there to make cars for that territory. So they navigated this really, really, really good. And by the way, Peter was a CTO first, and I remember when I interviewed him for the first time, he was at the what is it, that Mountain View, California museum where Tesla did a lot of their shareholder events, Museum of Technology. I forgot. Anyway, so I remember talking to him, and he was still a CTO at that time, and then he got promoted to CEO, and look, things have really worked out for them. So kudos to Lucid. Let me back up a little bit and see. Some Patay is good, but some not so good here in Texas, says Ramirez. Jay Ramirez. Well, when I was in Houston, I went to this restaurant. I forget the name, but it was great. The Thai restaurant was really, really good. The owners, as most owners of Thai restaurants around the world, are from Thailand. These guys were particularly, was family, was from Bangkok. Who knows? They might be somewhere out there right now here in Bangkok, but probably in Houston, still running that awesome restaurant. And yeah, I don't miss the pricing. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this. How is Rivian doing? Asks Jay Ramirez. Well, they look. First of all, you guys probably known quite. If you've been watching my channel for a while, I've been very harsh on Rivian. Rivian has turned into a company that just does not give a crap and flat out insults their and their customers. Especially last year, they kind of settled down this year. As much as I personally liked RJ Scaringe, the CEO, I also think he shouldn't have made it this far. He's made so many bad mistakes, including putting the guy from Tesla manufacturing in charge of his manufacturing, and there was so many freaking problems, and it took him a while to realize that maybe we shouldn't, you know, put if we don't want the production help, maybe we shouldn't put people who've created the production help at Tesla in charge of our production. So Rivian and Lucid kind of figured that out. I think Rivian took a little bit longer, and then things kind of evened out, and things were kind of okay, I guess. But not this month. So, by the way, so Rivian just once again announced that they're going to deliver less of their cars than they predicted. I don't know how this. I mean, this call adjustment, which I think is just bullshit. To where we can't sell our cars, but. And I just read this article before going on the air to do this live stream. Apparently, and I kid you not, the reason they had to cut down on their numbers is not because of the demand, which, I don't know, maybe there is not enough demand, but it is because of supply. I said the word supply weirdly because I was trying to say the word stupid. So supply. So apparently, I even get mad at well, let me tell you first what it is. I can't believe this. So apparently they did not realize how many, I believe, coils they needed for electric motors, and they only had one supplier supplying it. And so because of that supplier, was only able to deliver so many, and 10,000 less for 10,000 less cars than it should have been. And since there's no second supplier, Rivian just does not have enough of these one part, and they have to now make less because they just don't. I mean, how? It's amazing how RJ has surrounded himself, and because I'm not really sure if he is a bad CEO, he certainly doesn't know how to hire good people. Because this is not the first time I see a tremendous clusterfuck happening in Rivian, and they keep their CEO still. Because the buck stops with him, and he has been a disaster, I think, for Rivian. But anyway, so how do you hire somebody, and how does that somebody not understand how many parts they need to order? So what I was going to say is, when I go to a barbecue place or any place really in America, it doesn't fucking happen here, and you show up at 4 p.m. and they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, we're out of ribs. And you'll be like, what do you mean you're out of ribs? Like, that's the main thing that you sell. How do you guys not know how many ribs to order? And you cook them, to order. So you didn't even order enough to stock your freezer. Like, how do these people stay in business? But sometimes you go like, well, what are you going to do? It's a small business owner. Maybe they just started their business without knowing anything about the business because their product was good, because the ribs were delicious. A lot of restaurants start that way. And but how the fuck do you do this with a car company and still keep your jobs? By the way, I don't think anybody got fired over this. I don't know. So yeah, so Rivian, they're going to deliver less cars, and they're going to deliver less cars for like really, really, really stupid and bad reason. I don't know what else to say, but this company has not been good to their customers. I don't think they're good to their shareholder, but as shareholders, but as we see from Elon Musk, you don't have to be good to your shareholders to keep your shareholders. Maybe that's what's happening with Rivian, but that's yet another very, 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 very disappointing thing about Rivian. That I was such a big fan, by the way. Oh my god, I was such a big fan of Rivian at first, and then just with just so many bad decisions and really, really bad deeds that they've done to their customers. One time I caught them red-handed intimidating members of the media, which was racially built right in front of my eyes. Did not want to own up to it at all. So man, so yeah, Rivian, not a good year for them. Let's see what happens next year, and I hope they get rid of RJ and the new guy comes in. By the way, why not hire Herbert Dees? I hear he's looking for a job. and have him hire a competent team to run Rivian into the success, because the product is great, right? And it looks like they have a second generation of products coming in. So why it's almost, it's the success is for them to lose, and I feel like RJ has hired people that are just gonna do that. So Rivian. All right, so Ultra Slow says, I will have Thai tonight. All right. Well, I already had Thai, as I do every day pretty much. I love Thai food. Is one of the many benefits of living here. So kudos. I will have time in New York tonight. It will be somewhat more here, just a little bit more than $1.79 that I paid for mine. Steve says, will cars be able to have full speed internet at some point soon? Are there technical roadblocks? Well, I mean, you can argue that they already have full speed internet or fast speed internet, because cell phone connections now with 5G is what, a lot of you, not us here, we have 500 up, 500 down. But I remember when I was in the heart of Silicon Valley, and even right now, well, it was only 2 years ago, 20 up, 20 down was like fast speed internet, $100. So you can get that out of your cell phone connection. So I guess the time is now, right? I mean, how fast do you need to download your porn is really the question. Is obviously Starlink from Tesla would probably speed that up. And I'm assuming, well, I'm not really sure if I should assume that others will create a similar service to Starlink. But you got to be able to also own a Starship company, right? So maybe not. But I by the way, here we don't have, I mean, we obviously have Starlink, but we have fiber in a lot of these buildings, and that's why I have such fast internet, and very cheap. The champ says, Alex, Stellantis, what the fuck is this train wreck? I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no answer. I'm sorry, I have no answer. I mean, did they get? I don't even know. Did they get a new CEO, Stellantis? It's not working, obviously. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. Dees is dead inside Volkswagen in Europe. He got in trouble with everyone from government to unions and shareholders. Yeah, but he was really good at running in this car company. You know what I mean? He can come and run Rivian, I think, much better than RJ can. So, okay. I saw you ask before, Ultra Slow. You asking again. Thoughts on Aptera? I don't have any. I mean, I feel like they had a chance to bring it to market. They didn't. With Sandy Monroe being involved, I thought they would be able to do a lot of things, besides good technical design. I don't think much of Sandy Monroe anymore as a, online personality or an honest person, but I do think of him as a someone who understands production. And I thought that's great. They're really going to do well. And they didn't. And at this point, this is not even a car that needs a lot of like government, obey a lot of government regulations. This is not a car that needs a humongous factory, right? It's not really a car if you think about it, right? And the fact that they're still screwing around and they can't bring it to production, I mean, maybe one day they will. It doesn't seem like things are going that badly, but the fact that they just can't bring it to the production just tells me that. And I mean, are they having some sort of a cash issues? That would be the only sort of reasonable guess or a good reason to not be in production. But I don't think that's the case. A lot of times it does come down to people. Do you have good people running your company or not? Like with Rivian, the answer is not. Let's see if there will be an X phone that uses Starlink. That's actually probably not a bad idea, Jay Ramirez. I'm sure Elon would love that, right? I mean, a phone that has his service as a platform. the main platform. It's great. But don't forget, Amazon had their phone, right? And I was going to buy an Amazon phone because when I was in America, I used Amazon a lot, right? Amazon is a great service. One of the few services when I left America that still provided good customer service, which is almost like it's almost dead in American Western countries. Still great here in Southeast Asia, but in America, it's dead except for Amazon customer service. It's funny, when I was in Cebu City in Philippines, I actually came up to the building where they answer majority of your calls and of our calls when you call their support at night, which is daytime here. So that was pretty cool. I even posted a little short and a story on my social media. So yeah, but that somehow did not do very well. I'm surprised that and I don't know the details, but I'm surprised that Amazon was not able to bring a cell phone to market successfully. I mean, they did bring it to market, but nothing happened to it. So and I think now that Elon has been kind of a crazy person who also endorsed Donald Trump, anything that he sells will be a tough sale. It will be, I think, a relatively tough sale. Jeff says, I don't think there will be a Starlink phone. It'll probably be the direct to sell 5G. Nobody knows. Right now, I'm sure he is concentrated on the robotaxi event. Let's see how it's going to go. That's not why I'm looking forward to October 10th, which is already here in Bangkok. I'm looking to October 10th because NHL season starts. Yes. Just about one of the things on my to-do list before I go to bed today is to sign up with ESPN Plus package again, so I can watch those games. Any hockey fans, let me know, guys, which team you're rooting for. I am the Detroit Red Wings team. I am a Detroit Red Wings team fan. It was easy to be a fan about 20 years ago, and even 10 years ago of Detroit Red Wings, but now it's pretty painful. But the team is kind of going back up, so we'll see. All right, unless there's anything else, my voice is not very good. I know you guys probably heard this many times, but my voice has been rough because of a bunch of things. But this time around, it was a little bit embarrassing. It was a combination of ice cream and getting into a Uber car that's way too cold and not telling the driver to lower the air conditioning, even though I know how to say it in 3 languages, but I didn't. All right, guys. I'm gonna save my voice because I'm gonna go live in another day or two after the robotaxi event and analyze it a little bit for you. Maybe do a little bit Elon Musk translation into English because lately it's been kind of hard to guess. Well, it's bullshit to English, essentially. That's the language that Elon has adopted as his, I guess, current choice. So yeah, well, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for hanging in there with my voice. And I will see you guys only in a couple of days. So let's watch the event. Let's see how it goes. My prediction is going to be a great show with very little substance based on what we've seen from FSD. But like I said, and based on what we know about what Elon Musk has as his essentially team, which has been, pretty much everybody who was any good left. And then we'll take it from there. And I would be interested to see what the stock does after the event, which is never logical to me. But RP says Musk is officially not a liar. He is a corporate puffer. No. He's a liar. I mean, he definitely crossed that line for sure. Thank you, Ultra So. I will try to get better. I have a pretty happening weekend, but I still have to unpack the mess that I'm seeing around me in this room. And I will check how good the sound is in this room. I feel like there is not much of an echo. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great afternoon. I'm gonna hopefully get to bed sometime soon. A big day tomorrow, and hockey starts, robotaxi event. Who knows what else? Good life in Bangkok. All right, I will see you guys in a couple of days. Other than that, see you then. Remember to stay charged.